let's do the other end of this just because KCP is the highlight of the Magic. The Denver Nuggets, they're having a terrible offseason, folks, so far. We'll see what happens, but they re-signed DeAndre Jordan, 1-year vet minimum. They lose KCP for absolutely nothing. As of right now, they're less than $2 million into the tax for 12 players. I'm wondering if you still need to add talent. And people are talking about, like they have the mini MLE. Okay, cool. That $5.2 million is basically, percentage-wise, it's a pretty big increase over. But if you're just signing a veteran to their minimum who's had 10 years of experience, you're over $3 million. So there's not like a huge value add there. I guess if you can use it to bag a Malik Beasley or a Buddy Hield and increase your shooting, this team is, and you have Nikola Jokic, so it does, it matters to an extent, but you have Michael Porter Jr. as like your caps lock shooter. I guess Jamal Murray is your caps lock shooter. Julian Strother, if you think he's going to kind of make the leap, and then it's, all right, what are we doing here? Jokic got to take a lot more threes, and can Michael Porter Jr. be less streaky? I swear, he's the streakiest. Just look at his percentage from three, and it's always through the roof, except in certain playoff series for the regular season, and you still just feel like that it's not always going in when he shoots it. I don't understand the logic from this team. Again, Calvin Booth was talking, and you knew KCP was gone the moment he started talking about the Christian Brown's sample size. And I don't throw this on him. I throw it on the Cronkies. It's, yeah, okay, look at what is going on in the West. And some of these teams had more tools, but I'm holding the Nuggets to the bar of retain your own fucking talent when you have the ability to do so. I don't need you to go out there and be as active as the Thunder were, as active as the Mavericks were. You didn't have those resources at your disposal. I understand that, but don't come out here and say like, this is just the realities of the second apron. No, it's fucking not. And I don't know that was the implicit framing is how I took it. That is, you had the ability to pay KCP. It wasn't that big of a raise. And look at this deal. It would have been 1/3 over by the end of next season. And if it wasn't working out, that's a deal you can absolutely move at that number. That's a deal that you can absolutely positively move. You should have been prepared to suck it up for 1 year. And I don't want to hear, and it sounds like another transaction I didn't really list. It's not official, I don't think, but Jamal Murray, he's going to sign a 4-year, $208.5 million extension. I don't want it what are we doing? Honestly, what are we doing? The Thunder Mavericks improve a great deal. You have all those, so they're not going anywhere. The Timberwolves are not going anywhere. There's a team that could Memphis is going to be healthier. There are teams that could okay, let's go ahead and write off the Clippers. The Pelicans are certainly more intriguing, at least if they're going to be healthier. The West is good. Like the Spurs now, we're going to get to them too in a little bit. Like the West is still the West. There might be teams that look like they're, I don't know if the Golden State's weaker so much as just like they're weirder, but the Lakers could just be better depending on if they make a move. Couldn't get Jonas Valanciunas to make LeBron take that pay cut, though. That's rough stuff for them. So you're sitting there, you're telling me with knowing that Jamal Murray, even while he plays, not a perfect portrait of good health, while you're looking at what Michael Porter Jr. kind of did in the playoffs, while you're looking at Nikola Jokic going to turn 30, and you're just saying like, nah, like we're going to really just bet on our youth right here. Fuck. No, not when you have the ability to keep KCP. This wasn't a Bruce Brown situation where you couldn't have paid him. And if you want to get into the cost of maintaining this roster long-term, and you're saying, well, we're going to kind of pull back this year, so we're okay paying Aaron Gordon's next contract. He's extension eligible, has that player option. Jamal Murray's extension will kick in for the 25-26 season. Just miss me with that stuff. You have Nikola Jokic, one of the greatest players of all time. You've won a single championship. You already kind of pulled the youth movement shit this year, where maybe there was a disconnect between Michael Malone and the front office with how much those guys were supposed to play. But now you're leaning into it further. You traded Reggie Jackson, attached 3 second rounders to him, and you did that to save money, but is it to just open up playing time for Jalen Pickett? Or no, what if Michael Malone just responds by, instead of leaning into the youth movement, you're just going to see a lot more of DeAndre Jordan and too much of Russell Westbrook when he inevitably ends up in Denver. The one thing I will say about that perked my ears up, Adam Mares was talking on, I think it was the Lockdown Nuggets podcast or the DNVR Nuggets podcast, and he said that Jokic is on board with Westbrook and maybe actively excited about it. That made me pause like, oh, okay, if Jokic thinks it's fine, like, let's do this. But you had the ability to keep KCP, and if you are not prepared to fully maximize Nikola Jokic's short-term window while also planning for the long-term for a single season, I don't care how much you paid last year when the second apron just really wasn't a thing, You have Nikola Jokic, one of the greatest players of all time. You had just won a championship. You were less than, like, you're only a year removed from your last championship. You still have a championship caliber roster. And by the way, you had depth issues with KCP, and we're just supposed to believe Christian Brown and Peyton Watson and Julian Strawther and maybe Hunter Tyson will, like, and Jalen Pickett, all those, and Deron Holmes now. That's it. They're going to figure it out. No, like, okay, maybe they do. You could have been a better team. And I've seen some fans, I I respect the fans. You don't have to be super critical. If you want to see how it plays out, that's fine. But don't kind of like, you don't have to sip all the Kool-Aid where it's like, well, we're just not going to have the best roster in the league now. And that's fine. It's not fucking fine. You have Nikola Jokic, and to just, I think it's cool that you could say, well, we just trust Nikola Jokic to optimize whatever around him. How about you optimize Nikola Jokic and focus on, well, maybe we don't want him playing as many minutes in the regular season or as many games in the regular season because, hey, he's getting up there and he's been a fucking Iron Man. This is the team that has made me so angry. And I laid at the feet of the Cronkies, not Calvin Booth. I don't think he's sitting there saying, yeah, bye, KCP. I don't want to pay you. Like, it seems like he's a very big believer in Peyton Watson. And did you see the 52 possession net rating sample size with Christian Brown? Oh my God, I need to move on. This is so bad. This is just like, if they sign someone that's a home run with the mini Emily that you think is going to replace KCP, sure. You wouldn't have had the mini Emily with KCP. I can give you that. But are they going to use it, or are they going to look to duck the tax entirely? That's just something that we need to, like, that's going to be a reality. And then, you know what? Hold them to the fire if they then don't pay Aaron Gordon or something after kind of pulling back this year. So the Nuggets have been my title pick for 2 years in a row. As of right now, they're not going to be my title pick again. They're still capable of winning a title, but you're already in territory of so much needs to go right and get lucky. And yeah, that's the case for every single team, even the Boston Celtics. But now it's just, you're more beholden to these unknowns than you should have been. And I understand wanting to plan for a long-term window and building a dynasty. You got to win another title before that happens. And Nikola Jokic is in his prime now. When are Peyton Watson and Christian Brown going to be fully ready and in their primes? When he's 33, 34? As of right now, it just seems like this organization is fucking up. And that's really disappointing. The Nuggets are still a really good team, potentially great team. They had the potential, even as currently constructed. You had to get lucky with health, but that's still a caveat. Now it's just a bigger caveat. They had the potential to be a generational team for a sustainable period. And maybe they're still that. I won't rule it out. Again, I'll eat crow if this Christian Brown comes in, wins most improved player. Peyton Watson is hitting threes, but this team just lost one of its three most important shooters without anyone that's going to readily replace him. That doesn't bring the package of defense and shooting that he does. You could say, well, look, if Russell Westbrook comes in and plays with that defensive energy at the point of attack, great, can't fucking shoot. Christian Brown, fantastic defender. We've seen him. He can go on runs where he hits threes. It's not the same as KCP. Defenses aren't going to treat him the same. Christian Brown might even be the defensive upgrade. I'm actually open to the idea that the Nuggets defense is just better. Not, I guess, better without KCP in the sense that now you have to lean on more Peyton Watson and Christian Brown minutes, which I anticipate will come at the expense of your offense. But you could also, there could be a trade-off of, like, we just need to lean really fucking hard on Michael Porter Jr. now because we need that shooting and offense on the floor. So you're always going to put your defense in sort of, not compromised. He can be good, but you're not going to see, maybe you're not going to lean as hard into the Brown and Watson minutes playing at the same time, which, hey, can you even do that with the roster the way that it's going? What does the offense look like during those minutes? I love Nikola Jokic, but there's only so much he could prop up. So I'm mega disappointed in the Nuggets. It was clear they were going to lose KCP. They should have kept him. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The contract was fine. They could have moved on from it. Mid-season, they could have moved on from it, and that would have cut their fucking tax bill that they, all this restrictions. Yeah, it would have been a dollar for dollar match. Or you fucking could have taken back less. There are people making less than KCP. No, could you have done a straight up salary dump for KCP in the middle of the year? No, I'm sorry. Just because teams have to the cap floor now, so those opportunities just aren't going to be available. You need to be prepared to suck it up for one season, but it wouldn't have been impossible to make moves here. You have these salaries where you could, the only player where you might run into an issue with is Michael Porter Jr. And guess what? He's still on the fucking roster. So terrible stuff from the Denver Nuggets. And don't try to sell me on it being any other way. I like Peyton Watson and Christian Brown too, and maybe I end up being wrong. But for now, just really, really sorry stuff from the Nuggets in my humble opinion, even though I went off there.